Missourians with disabilities will no longer see cuts to their programs under a spending plan approved by the Missouri House today. Our Missouri Capitol reporter Hannah Falcon explains who wins and loses in the latest version of the state budget.
The Missouri House approves the 2027 state budget, sending the $50 billion spending plan to the Missouri Senate.
It's all hard decisions. There's no easy decisions.
With revenue shrinking, Budget Chairman Dirk Deaton says the trick was to find places to cut spending. Governor Mike Kehoe proposed an $80 million reduction to disability services.
You know, when you're in a tight year, being the governor having to look at all those situations is very, very difficult. Doesn't mean that we don't like a certain service or we do like a certain service.
Missourians with disabilities flocked to the state capitol to advocate for the funds. House lawmakers bowed to the pressure and restored funding.
It's just something that we weren't comfortable doing this year,
which always should have been in the budget, according to Representative Betsy Fogel.
I wish we would have never had to put families through what they had to go through the last few months, making a trip to Jefferson City, advocating for something that should have never, in my opinion, should have never been recommended in the first place.
But every decision comes at a cost. In this case, it's an overhaul of the way higher education is funded.
The money goes where the students are. These institutions have other means of support.
Under this budget, public colleges and universities will receive funding based on enrollment. It cuts $300 million in higher education spending, but draws skepticism from both Democrats and Republicans for its possible effects on small schools.
This is too drastic for Missouri.
The Senate can still make changes to the budget, but both chambers have to reach an agreement before May 8th, when it has to be sent to the governor. Reporting in Jefferson City, I'm Hannah Falcon, WGEM News.